again. You are listening to the Appleton REIA podcast. My name is Dan Alborn, and next to me is
Jackie Conkle. What's up? How you doing?
We're doing well. Hey, this is a podcast dedicated to you, the real estate investor, to know the tips, tricks, techniques to be overall successful, find some shortcuts, and just not only just me a flash in the pan, but maintain long-term success, as real estate can be a phenomenal vehicle for wealth building and really planning your life around your business, which is Life and Air 101, right?
I know, right? That's the goal.
Awesome. So today I'm actually pretty excited because we actually have someone joining us on the podcast. This is Ryne Lambert. Now, Ryne is actually a one-on-one mentoring student of ours. He's been in our program for some time, but we wanted to bring Ryne on because he has really done some amazing things, overcome some adversity, and we wanted him to come on, Jackie, just really to share his story because I think it could benefit so many people.
You know, the other cool thing I was just thinking of as you're introducing him is when he joined, things were a lot easier. And then he's been here kind of as that market's been churning and as things have gotten a little tighter, seller's market, like the craziness we've seen, right? And then he was here through COVID and continues to grow. I mean, let's throw the guy some props because, man, he's just like, what should I do? And we say, you should do this. And then he just says, okay. And then he goes and does it. Yeah. Right? Success.
Absolutely. You know, Jackie and I are kind of old dogs when it comes to maybe doing this for a while. Ryan's obviously new blood. He's been in this for a short window of time, but has had immense success. So without us really talking much, Ryne, this is going to be about you. So Ryne Lambert, welcome to the Appleton REIA podcast. How you doing, man?
Hey, doing well, Dan and Jackie. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Why don't you, if you don't mind, just kind of share with people a little bit about you, why you got into real estate, and kind of a quick maybe minute to two synopsis of who you are and what you're doing and where you're at today.
Sure, yeah, I can do that. So why I got into real estate? Well, probably similar to a lot of investors out there, I came across a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
The old Kiyosaki.
Yeah, Mr. Kiyosaki. Back in it was right around Christmas 2017. I think actually, I think I bought it a while before that, and it was sitting in my Kindle queue, and I'm like, you know what? I got to read this book. It's been sitting here for a while, and let me check it out.
Sure.
And so I read that, and I'm a personal finance guy. I went to school for it. I've been a financial advisor. I've always been involved in the financial industry, and still like that Kiyosaki book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, kind of just opened my eyes a little bit because in the financial industry, like, you're talking stocks and you're talking other ways to invest, but real estate really isn't a huge topic as far as education, as far as, banking and financial advisors. I mean, it's usually, mutual funds, stocks, bonds, annuities, they're traditional types of investing, and talking about, 401ks and IRAs and all that stuff. So reading that Rich Dad Poor Dad book really kind of kicked off that mindset of, hey, I need to start generating some passive income here, and starting to diversify a little bit. And I started reading more books and getting more and more interested in it. And then it kind of just exploded from there. I kind of set my mindset like, hey, this is something that I think is going to be good for me and my family. Try to give us some more time to spend with each other, go travel across the world, because that's something that is a huge goal for me, is to show, my kids and my family the different areas of the country and across the world, and have those experiences that I didn't have when I was a kid. So to me, this is a venue to do that, and then also give us a little more time freedom. And I'm not someone that wants to work until I'm age 65. So this is a way to get there. So that's kind of how we started it out, my wife and I doing it, and we just struggled. I mean, the first, we were doing it without mentorship, and I know we're going to talk about this later, but we were doing that for about 8 months probably, kind of on our own, trying to figuring things out, reading a lot of books, but it was just really a struggle at the start. So we really were looking to try to do it the right way to start with, instead of struggling years and years and years. So that's kind of where we came across, the Appleton REIA.
Right. Yeah, so obviously you were kind of plugging along for a bit. You came along, and you teamed up with Brett, Jackie, and myself in doing mentoring. So I guess talk a little bit about that experience, Ryne. What has been the benefit of really having someone like that in your life, or in your back pocket per se, to help you through this process, through your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a few things. So like just I've been part of coaching in different positions in the past, so I knew the benefits of it, and kind of one of the first things it helps with is it shortens the learning curve, right? And to me, that was a huge benefit.
Right.
Was to do a little bit of a shortcut and not have to continue. Like, we still read books, and I still do that, right? You never stop learning, but to try to, we have the experience now of, the two of you along with Brett to help us accelerate, right? And that's something we've been doing the last couple of years, and it's obviously paid dividends, but you guys are there to help us build that plan. I know one of the first things we did a couple of years when we started was the fast start, right? To figure out, what's our attack plan? Mm-hmm. And then over the course of the last couple of years, we've obviously tweaked that, but just planning with you guys, discussing, what we should do to find deals, to find off-market, discounted real estate deals and people that we can help. Because what I was doing the first 8 months was looking on the MLS. And when you look on the MLS, that's not really the type of seller that us as investors are looking for to work with, because you're paying, obviously, at or above market rates.
Right, especially in today's market, you're right.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, so, you and Jackie and Brett were just really able to shorten that learning curve for us, start attacking the right types of marketing off the bat and just executing at a level, and it paid off pretty quickly. I mean, we had our first couple deals locked up and closed within, I think 4, 5, 6 months of doing it. We had 2 deals right off the bat. So yeah, you guys were able to, like I said, help us with that learning curve. That was the biggest thing, I think, to start with. And then a couple more things is prevent mistakes. Like, we were obviously able to use the experience that 3 of you have had, because the 3 of you have been doing it for a long time. I'm not going to probably guess the years you've been doing it, but I know a long time you guys have been doing it, especially Brett and Jackie. Yeah. So being able to learn from the mistakes that you guys have had when we encounter specific situations, run that past you, and just learn from you guys so that we don't make those mistakes, right? Right? So I think that's been a huge thing. To me, just one of the biggest things that kind of was holding me back initially at the beginning too is repair estimates. And I think that's a big thing for a lot of new investors that aren't in the trades is, I don't know what it costs to fix this. Yeah. So having the 3 of you, especially Brett in our corner, to walk through the properties and help us really say, all right, we do it to fix this, we don't have to fix this. If we do it to fix it, what's it going to cost? And plan that all out so that when we are buying things, we're buying it right. And again, we're preventing mistakes. And then obviously the 3 of you having that local market knowledge as well was huge. And I guess the last couple things I'll say here is just being part of the coaching program has really given Kelly and I confidence. If we run across, we can run past you guys, and you guys will give us that situational analysis, help us with what to say or what to do to move the process along, or sometimes just say, hey, this isn't a lead, or this isn't a deal. It's not worth spending a whole lot more time on. So just giving us that confidence that, hey, when we reach out to you guys with an opportunity or what we think is an opportunity, you guys are going to really help us do that. And then I guess finally is the accountability piece of it. And Dan and Jackie, you guys have been great with this, and I know I've been leaning on Dan a lot with this, is just on a weekly or semi-weekly basis, just making sure that you guys are keeping me accountable and giving me that little kick in the butt, so that when I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it, because I know that I have to report back to you guys the next time we talk, right? Sure. And I'm one of those guys that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, and I don't want to let anyone down. Not that, the 2 of you, obviously you care, you want me to succeed, but it's not hurting you guys financially if I don't succeed. It's just hurting me, right?
Sure.
But having you guys there to say, hey, Ryne, you said you were going to make 150 calls last week. How come you didn't do it? Right? And then, all right, well, what's your barrier? Let's try to think of creative problem solve ways to get there. And that's something that we do. I know Dan every now and then is trying to figure out ways that, what are the roadblocks I'm having and how do we get past them?
Right. Awesome.
So beneficial. Awesome. I know, Ryne, I've had a handful of coaches and mentors in my different journeys in life as well, including real estate. And I love that you said it gave you confidence, because I always felt like that was the missing piece for me. Like, what am I missing? Did I get the repairs right? Do I have my ARV right? Like, I was so afraid to pull the trigger when I was on my own until I had that backing of somebody else getting their eyes on it and looking at it, running numbers and saying, yeah, this is a good deal. Let's move forward. So I love that you brought that up about the confidence. I kind of look at it as like a tollway, right? Like, we can get on the tolls. Now, Wisconsin, we don't have any tolls, but you've probably been to the states where they do, right? And they have the fast pass lane, right? And you can have this little thing in your windshield, and you can get on the highway and you can go as fast as you can go, and you just drive under the thing and it zaps your account, for a little bit here and a little bit there, but you get to your destination a lot quicker versus not being on the tollway and having to stop for stop signs. You got detours and pedestrian traffic and different speed limits and all the things that kind of fall into your way. The tollway is just a lot faster and easier, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you say that. I mean, when you're off the tollway too, I mean, you get lost, right? Sometimes you get lost.
Yeah.
Even with Google Maps, if you run into a little detour that Google Maps wasn't expecting, that detour could cost you some time, right?
Yeah, to get back on track. Good point.
I think having, like you said, having me on that tollway and having the mentors to accelerate it and stay on the path and get there faster, that's been huge.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing I'd like to maybe have you talk about, Ryne, is so often in real estate, I mean, if you're new in real estate and you've signed up for one, like someone telling you can make $30,000 in 30 days, which you can, you then get inundated with all these other people telling you these different ways that you can make money in real estate, which many ways are true and accurate. So I'm not discounting any of that. But the one thing that I think that sometimes they don't really tell you is the grind that goes behind it. Can you talk a little bit about your journey with this program and just really maybe a roadblock that you've hit, and how did you push past that?
Sure, yeah. I mean, one of the big things we did, so when we started out, we did a lot of direct mail marketing, and we did bandit signs or yard signs. And the direct mail, that was a slog, right? Like we were pretty consistent with it, probably not as consistent as you need, but still pretty consistent with it. And I mean, obviously the financial dollars and cents of buying the supplies and stuff like that, that's one thing, but the time commitment to doing that is significant until there are ways to automate it, obviously, but we were just starting out. We didn't have a whole lot of cash to throw at this thing. So we were trying to save money every little place we could. So we spent a lot of time handwriting letters and handwriting addresses, and
right.
I mean, that's a slog too. So that was a little bit of that wasn't, and not seeing the response on it too, just because there's so many people that send mail. That was not the greatest experience, and we stopped doing direct mail because we found other avenues, and we can maybe talk about that later. But bandit signs is something we did right off the bat too, and that was, obviously that's a grind as well. I mean, you're going out. I always did it like in the evenings for the most part, or in the early mornings on the weekends, and I'd go out and put 20, 30 signs out at a time. But obviously, when you do that, you get a variety of calls. Let's say that.
Very politically correct. Nice job, Ryne.
You get a variety of calls from from people that don't want you putting it in their yard or on the corner or whatever it is, to authorities calling you, asking you to remove it because it's against the city ordinances. And also you get sellers, right? You do get sellers, and that's how we found our first 2 deals, was on bandit signs.
Yep.
So it's not that they don't work. And I know Dan and Jack, when we were doing it at first, we were getting a lot more of those negative calls, and I'm like, man, this thing does not work. And you're like, do it.
It works.
So we kept doing it, and we did get deals until, we did have the 5-0 up here in Green Bay. Finally, I think I had the commissioner call me and said, hey, I got a bunch of your signs in my office. If you keep doing that, we will fine you. And I said, okay, message received. So we did stop doing those, but they work. They do work. So that was, I would say, it was worth it, because we did get 2 smoking deals off of that we were able to serve the sellers that need to sell. I mean, they were both 2 phenomenal stories, and it felt good to help them out. But then also on our side, just getting 2 deals under contract, and being able to close on those and turn a profit on it, that was always exciting. Right?
I want to pause just real quickly for a second, because I love how you frame that, because if you can catch anything with Ryne saying right here, a lot of this is gold, so hopefully you're soaking this in. But Ryan's focus was what? He served the people.
Yep.
And oh, by the way, the byproduct of that is they were pretty nice paydays too, right? But that wasn't when I said, dude, I made X amount of money, which is exciting, but I love how typically we say things what comes from the heart, and you put first that you serve them first, and you benefited financially from it. So just wanted to share that, point that out. I love it.
And that's another reason for your success, is because you have the right motivation behind it,
Yeah, I mean, we try to make sure that, we do right by everyone. It's got to be a win-win situation for everyone involved. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to do it. So
yeah. So I know you had some great success out of the gates, and then there was kind of just a little bit of a roadblock. I mean, you don't need to get into necessarily details. What was the really, where I think you refocused and then got back after it, and right now I think you're positioning yourself for some phenomenal things. Mm-hmm. Talk about really kind of what happens, because what most people do is they get to that point, they hit the roadblock, and they stop.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You did not. Why, and what pushed you forward?
Right. I mean, so for us, with like the biggest roadblock, I think to start with was like when the Bandit sign machine got shut off, right? Mm-hmm. That's how we fought our 2 deals. It's like, all right, what's next? I mean, like I said, direct mail wasn't going well, so we started trying other marketing techniques, and we ended up settling on, okay, what's our kind of strong suit? And me being a salesperson and someone that's been on the phone since I've been out of college, that was a skill set that I have. So I'm like, you know what, let's try cold calling. So that's what I've been focusing on, really the last 18 months, mm-hmm. roughly, and we've been doing deals, obviously, and that's a grind too. I mean, everyone. I don't care where you're in. No one likes cold calling. No one does. If they say they like cold calling, something's wrong with them. Right? No one likes cold calling. I mean, yeah, you have some great conversations, but a lot of it's just mental, right? I mean,
yes.
I know, Dan, we've talked about it too. Like the people that pick up the phone and scream at you when you call them, those are so far and few between. I mean, it's Wisconsin. I don't know if it's Wisconsin nice, but people are generally pretty polite for the most part.
Right.
Sure.
It's just a mental block that people have. So that's something that we've been doing over the last 18 months or so, along with some ringless voicemail mixed in. But that's been successful for us, and it has allowed us to pick up 9 rental units, which was kind of the reason we got into this in the first place.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's nice to start bringing some of those rentals on. Mm-hmm. Our goal was to get one last year, and we obviously blew past that a little bit. So that was good to see. So
man, that's awesome.
We've done a few wholesale deals since then as well.
Yeah.
So and we've done a few referrals. I mean, just getting out there and making sure. I know Dan and Jackie, not to pivot too much here, but you guys have always said since we started, hey, make sure people know what you do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure people know what you do. So that's something that I think Kelly and I have been doing is, letting people know what we do. Family, friends, coworkers, neighbors, everything, right?
Yeah.
Letting people know what you do. And we've gotten referrals, and they haven't all worked out, but the ones that have worked out have been smoking deals.
Right.
I mean, they've been great deals, and obviously, again, able to serve the people that we help. But we picked up a rental off of one, and we did, recently, and then we did a wholesale off of one as well. And what we do is we pay the person that referred the business to us $1,000, and that's always awesome. That kind of makes a triple win, right? Because you're able to serve the seller, you're able to serve yourself, obviously, but then you're also able to serve the person that referred the business to you, right?
Yep.
And say, hey, thank you. Here's $1,000 check.
Yeah, it's so cool. Those are my favorite days, is when I get to give those referral checks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So we've done a couple of those, so that's been awesome too. And then, the people you refer to are like, all right, I'm gonna go find more. So that's always good to hear too. And it just reaffirms to other people that that you do that. So no, it's been great to obviously ramp up the business here. I'd say it's really starting to ramp up over the last few months, but the reason is we've just been more consistent. I know I've talked with you, Dan and Jackie, about this, is just really trying to be consistent, carving out time, throughout the day, because my wife and I both still work. We both still have full-time jobs, and that's something that we'll have, for obviously a little while here, is, trying to make sure we do that, but then also take care of this real estate business, because if we stop doing it, which happens from time to time, we all have lives. I have 2 little kids, so that stuff happens, and obviously we had COVID hit. There's things that come up that you get out of your rhythm, but you got to make sure that you still kind of do what needs to be done and stay consistent somewhat in your marketing, so you don't lose that momentum. Because it's happened to me a couple times over the last years, is where I get going and then I get a roadblock, and for some reason I stop for a while, and then you lose that momentum. So I feel like the last, since probably I would say June, July of 2020, I've been trying to really just stay consistent, and that's really generated a lot of momentum.
Well, I'd say for you, Ryne, I'd say there's a few things. One, and this is tooting your horn, I think you are consistent in what you do. There's so many people that will buy a bunch of courses or will enroll in classes and get the education, but they don't apply it, or they'll start to apply, they hit the roadblock, and then they just stop. They get discouraged. What you've shared already is that you come across these roadblocks, and then you look to re-aim at the target. oh, bandit signs aren't working anymore. Well, what can I go after?
Yeah.
And now you're like really laser beam focused on the cold calling and the ringless voicemails, and you put together a plan. That's the other element of that. So you push past the roadblock. The other thing is you now have a plan, a structured plan of how many calls. You worked it backwards, right? You figured out if I did this X amount of times, I'm going to get these results. And now you have that built into your calendar and your marketing plan, really, for lack of better terms. And then the last piece that I think is so essential is, Jackie and I talk about this all the time, but this is the cornerstone of why you're going to continue to be successful, is you really clearly defined your why.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and our why is just that time freedom and having the experiences that we want to have as a family. And to have those, we have to sell more houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to buy more houses, and we have to sell more houses, and we have to get more rentals to do that. To kind of live the life that we want to live. And it's not about, making money. It's about, money's just a tool, right? It's just a tool to do what you want to do with it.
Yep.
But to me, it's about the experiences, mm-hmm. and to have those experiences and to live, I'm not to be able to live debt free, because we do have, mortgage debt, and we have some student loan debt and stuff like that. Like that, making extra money to put towards that's nice too, because that does relieve some stress. So, to me, money is just a tool to have those experiences and reduce the stress in life. So that's something that we're trying to do. And then obviously, I know Dan, Jackie, you guys have mentioned this too, but being able to give back to your community,
for sure,
financially as well, is something that Kelly and I have a goal on for this year as well.
Well, and that's kind of the whole point, right? Is you took the time to lay out your plan. You took the time to lay out the vision for your life of what you want that to look like, and how real estate as a tool can fill that. Can take care of the financial side of giving you the life and life experiences that you're looking for. And everybody has their own vision, whether they've taken the time to lay it out or not. And obviously the ones who really get to experience that vision and that plan are the ones who lay it out and focus on it. And that is something that you've definitely done. So,
yeah, I mean, writing it out is huge, right? And I've always that's been a mindset shift for me the last couple of years, is just making sure you write things out and put it in front of you that you can see it.
Makes all the difference.
See it, it's real.
Yep.
If it's just in your head, it's somewhat real, but it's just around in your head. It's not tangible.
Mm-hmm.
It shifts when it's in your head, because then somebody comes to you with some so-called opportunity, and that shiny object syndrome catches it, kicks in, and then you go chase that, and you completely forgot about what your original plan was, because it wasn't in writing in front of you with those waypoints and goals and those steps that you were going to take each day to get to the final goal. So You're right. It doesn't have the same effect when it's just, in your head.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a crap excuse.
Right. Well, and one thing that you guys have helped us with as well is, Jack, you just mentioned the shiny object syndrome. I mean, when you're part of a REIA, right, you get different speakers that come in, and they want to sell their product or their coaching or whatever it is, or their website that can get you leads or whatever it is, or their way of how they make money. But that's a shiny object, right? Like short-term rentals or lease options or whatever it is that they're talking to you about. That type of stuff is a shiny object. And I feel that some people, they're always moving, right? They're always moving on to the next thing, and they see something 1 month, and then 2 months later at another real estate investor event, they see another cool thing. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to do just whatever they see recently that seems interesting. They're not focusing on one thing, right? Mm-hmm. Focusing on one or two key things. Like, it's okay to add things on, but you got to get good at one thing before you can move on to another thing.
Bingo.
Right. Yep. And it has to fit the vision. Correct. So if your vision is in writing, and you can look at that shiny object and say, does this fit in with the vision I laid out? If the answer is no, then you move on. So for you, you were out there making calls and getting properties to renovate and wholesale, and then a great rental came along, and you can look and say, yeah, that fits my vision. My long-term vision says that I own cash flow properties. Okay, so now I want to look at that, and I want to find, how do I put that into my portfolio and make it fit the rest of my vision. And some things just don't fit, and that having that in writing allows you to say no to the things that sound all flashy but will literally pull you away from your vision, because you only have 24 hours in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, I'll say this too. I mean, we're talking a little bit, kind of the framing of this whole conversation. One is to talk about just some phenomenal things that you've been doing, Ryan. But I will also say that when we're talking about mentoring, because that's really kind of the core of this conversation today, is it's a two-way street. You know, I mean, a mentor is only as good as their mentee. We can give you every bit of information, and within our program, Jackie and I pretty much just lay out our business and say, this is what we're doing. You can even copy what we're doing. We don't care. But you know what happens? Even though we give everything and we're transparent, no one takes the action, or consistent action, I guess, is where I'll leave it at that. And that's the one thing that I really want to congratulate you, and really, I think that's what you've excelled at, Ryne, is you do take action, you take immediate action, and then you ask to be held accountable. Like, listen, I'm going to do this, and you're going to talk to me here in a week, and I'm going to have this done. And barring a few episodes where we had those dialogues, you do it. And like I said, you've been able to pivot when things don't go exactly as planned, because that's life and that's business. It's not all roses and cherries. There's going to be challenges that come into play. And you look at that, and having someone like yourself who's open to taking suggestion and changing and adding things into your business, that's why it's got to be a two-way street. You know, we can give you the world, but if you don't take the keys and open the door to see what's behind the door, you're never going to get there. So I just want to say that I think too often it's not talked about when people are trying to sell something, or if they're part of a mentor or coaching program. But as a person who's doing the mentoring, it's also helpful when the other person takes the action and is willing to be vulnerable, that if there's issues that come that way, because we talk about this all the time, Jackie, right?
Yeah.
Like, tell us when something's wrong.
You have to reach back.
Right.
And you have to say, listen, I hit a roadblock, or I'm having a hard day. Like, push me through today, because I really want to do this, but I'm at a whole point of I don't want to. I can't today. And we can just be that extra push. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to obviously make sure that the person that you're working with in a mentoring relationship sees the same values, and I think that's why this relationship has also worked. But that it can hold you accountable, but also you as the person being mentored, you have to be open to be vulnerable. Put yourself out there and just say, listen, this isn't going as I thought. And don't be too proud to say that, because anyone who's doing the mentoring isn't going to kick you in the teeth and be like, what are you, stupid? Why aren't you doing that? They're going to be compassionate and caring, saying, well, how can we work through this if they're worth their hill of beans in being a mentor? So I just want to compliment you, because I think you've really done a phenomenal job in that aspect, and I think that's why I just love seeing the growth, and you get me excited, and I'm sure, Jackie, you could talk to that too. Just when we see you win, we win.
Yeah,
100%. Whether we financially benefit or not, it's just exciting to see someone take these principles that we know work and apply it, I should say, and then seeing the results.
It gives us an opportunity to cheer. It's kind of like watching your own kid have success in life, right? Like, it just gives you an opportunity to cheer and have a good day. Like, oh my gosh, like, I had a little part in that, you know, and it's definitely motivating to us as well.
Well, as we're kind of wrapping up here, Ryne, I guess I just want to maybe give you some final words. I mean, you've really shared some awesome things today. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast and talking to us about your experience, your benefits. I guess if you have any closing remarks in regards to just, you know, your experience with, you know, if someone was looking right now, and this isn't necessarily a plug for us personally to be a mentor. Obviously, if you're local and you are looking for a real estate mentorship, we do offer that through the Appleton REIA. You can reach out to us, we can talk about that. But just mentoring in general, what would be your final parting words about the benefit of that and why someone should have that in their life?
Yeah, well, obviously, we've kind of talked about it, you know, the shorten the learning curve, you know, preventing mistakes, you know, leveraging the coach's experience, and then just getting confidence and accountability. Those are kind of the key tenets that I think any coaching program or mentoring program should have, right? If you're not getting that, maybe it's not the right thing for you if you're not getting that.
Good point.
It's exactly what you and Jackie were saying. Like, a lot of this is on the mentee, right? On the coachee, right? Not just the coach. You guys told us this from the get-go, and I think about this all the time, is you guys can coach us all you want, but if we don't implement it, or we don't care enough to do what you tell us or suggest or whatever, or if we're not picking up the phone and calling you, that's on us. So I see it a lot on forums, message boards, when people are, you know, talking down to other coaching programs, and, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. This costs too much money. It was a waste of time. It's like, well, yeah, but did you pick it up and read it for 5 minutes and then not do it again? Right? So all this stuff requires work, right? If you're not going to put the time in, then maybe rethink of if real estate's right for you, or if whatever you're trying to do is right for you, right? Like, I've had a coach in the past where they didn't push me, they didn't hold me accountable, and we ended up terminating that relationship. It wasn't real estate related, but, you know, not everything works out. And one thing that really pushed me towards working with Dan, you and Jackie and Brett was, you know, when we had that first meeting between Kelly and us, we just kind of hit it off like right away. I think a big part of coaching is, is there a match?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like dating, right?
For sure.
And it's kind of weird. Like, I don't want to make this weird, but it is kind of like dating. Like, if there's got to be some sort of chemistry between in my opinion.
Yes.
It's true. That's why we have the interview. Absolutely.
Right. There's got to be some sort of chemistry because it's not always going to be the right fit, right?
It isn't.
So you have to find someone that either you relate to or someone that you're open to taking, coaching from and follow it. So that's, I guess, my biggest thing that we haven't talked about so far is make sure that when you're looking for a coach, you find someone that, things just jive and you're comfortable taking criticisms from them and wins and just coaching in general. Someone that you can have some sort of chemistry with, because if you don't have chemistry, and it might not work out the way that it would if you had someone that you did have chemistry with.
Or even different ethics and philosophies.
Yes.
If that doesn't match, it's just going to be a rough road.
Agreed.
Absolutely, yeah. There's got to be some sort of similar beliefs or, something that nature, ethics, all that stuff. And I feel like, Kelly and I have a lot of, similarities to you guys on that. So I think that definitely helped versus other things.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You gave me a funny picture as you were saying, you were talking about on the forums and people are bashing coaches saying it doesn't work or it costs too much money or whatever. And I was thinking about the people who buy a workout program and they watch it every morning while they sit on the couch eating a donut and they say that the workout doesn't work. Right. Yet they never got on the floor and started doing the push-ups, right? They just watched the video. Well, it isn't going to work until you implement it and you take participation. And it's kind of the same thing, right? And a lot of people will say, oh, that training program didn't work, but really they're the ones that didn't do the work.
Correct.
So I had that silly little picture in my head. I thought I'd share,
So true.
Why not?
So true.
My DVD library that I have not done really with.
Well, Ryne, I thank you for coming on the podcast here today. Again, if you want to know more about what's going on with Appleton REIA, if you're listening, I know we have people that listen actually across the U.S., and heck, we might have people that listen outside the U.S., but AppletonREIA.com is the website to find all the latest happenings. If you are local in the area and want to know about different coaching and mentoring options, you can also go there too. We have one-on-one coaching. There's also group coaching where we meet monthly at different properties and evaluate. It's actually a phenomenal tool that if you're looking to get into real estate to be a part of as well. All the information online, AppletonREIA.com. Not to mention, if you become a member, there's phenomenal discounts on a local and national level. You get access to companies like Office Max, Home Depot, exclusive discounts on cabinets, things like that you only get by being a REIA member, amongst all the great information that's shared in the forum. So check it out, AppletonREIA.com. Ryne, thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Again, until we talk next time, guys, you've been listening to the Appleton REIA podcast. My name is Dan. She's Jackie. See ya.
See ya.